Hello dear kids, welcome back to the social science class, and today we are going to learn a new chapter from geography, that is life in temperate regions. And in this chapter we are going to discuss about the location of temperate grasslands and also about prairies and also about wealth. So let us have a look into the mind map. Life in temperate regions, and mainly we are going to discuss about two areas, that is the first the prairies and the wealth. And in prairies and wealth we will discuss the location, land, climate, natural vegetation and wildlife, human activities and also transport and cities. So let us learn together. So dear kids, you can watch here. The temperate regions of the world extend between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere. Here you can see Canada and North America. And the southern hemisphere, it is between the Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle, South Africa, some areas of South Africa. Okay, and they have moderate climate, and they are neither hot like the tropical or subtropical regions nor cold like the polar regions. Within the temperate regions, the interiors of continent or the continents are occupied by vast grasslands, and these are treeless plains which extend between 40 and 55 degrees of latitudes in the northern hemisphere and 30 and 40 degrees of latitudes in the southern hemisphere. So these temperate grasslands are known by different names in different areas. And in North America, they are known as prairies, in South America as pampas, in Eurasia as steppes, in South Africa as veldt, and in Australia as downs. So in this lesson you will learn about the physical environment and the human activities of two temperate grasslands, that is prairies and the veldt. Now let us learn about the first, that is the prairies. Here you can see the map of a prairie. This is what? The exact location of prairies. The prairies in North America are located in Canada and the USA. Canada and the USA. They lie between the foothills of Rocky Mountains in the west and Great Lakes and Appalachian Highlands in the east. The Canadian prairies include the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba and Western Ontario. In the USA, the Canadian prairies include the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba and Western Ontario. In the USA, the prairies cover mainly North Dakota, then South Dakota, then Minnesota, Iowa and Wisconsin state. Okay. And let us see the speciality of the land. Prairies have flat or slightly undulating. What do you mean by undulating? Undulating means having a smoothly rising and falling form. And terrain, it's a terrain. What is terrain? A stretch of land. So the prairies have flat or slightly undulating terrain. And in the USA, the Mississippi, Missouri, Ohio and Dakota rivers flow through the region, while in Canadian prairies are drained by the river Saskatchewan and its tributaries. Now we are going to discuss about the climate of the prairies. As the prairies are located in the interior of the continent with no moderating influence of the oceans, they have extreme climate. The winters are severely cold while the summers are hot. The annual rainfall is about 50 centimeters, which occurs mostly during spring and summer. And there is also some snowfall in winter. And a local warm wind called Chinook. So Chinook means local warm wind which blows down the eastern slopes of the Rockies and rises the winter temperature in the prairies. So that is Chinook, the local wind. And it blows in winter. And it raises the temperatures in this region and results in melting of snow. As we all know, if the temperature increases, the ice or the snow will melt. So it raises the temperature. The Chinook will increase the temperature in this region and results in melting of snow, making pasture land. What is pasture land? Pasture land means land covered with grass and other low plants suitable for grazing of animals. So because of this Chinook, the temperature will increase and it causes the melting of snow, which makes pasture land, and it's available for animals. And let us see about the natural vegetation and wildlife. And as we know, it is due to low rainfall. The natural vegetation of these prairies consists of only short grasses, shrubs and scattered trees like willows, alders and poplars. And wildlife in the prairies includes wolves and coyote and jackals and prairie dogs and antelope, rabbits and rattlesnakes. And about birds like hawks, owls and eagles are common. And at one time, the American bison was the main animal of the prairies. And reckless hunting. What is reckless hunting? Without thinking about the consequences. Okay, so the reckless hunting over the years has greatly reduced their numbers, and today they are a protected species. And what about the human activities in prairies? Yes, the people in the prairies have two major occupations. First one is cattle rearing, and the next is, yes, of course, farming. Let us see cattle rearing. The tall and nutritious grasses of the eastern part of the prairies are very suitable for dairy cattle, dairy farms. Yes, dairy farms produce milk, butter and cheese and are generally located near the big towns. And do you know, beef cattle are reared in large farms called ranches. So what do you mean by ranches? Yes, these are the beef cattle rearing areas, and these are the large farms where the beef is reared. And huge commercial ranches are located in the western and southern part of the prairies. And these ranches are self-contained units and managed like factories. And the main workers on a cattle ranch are the cowboys. You might have heard about cowboys. Yes, the main workers of this cattle ranch is known as cowboys, and their duty is to herd the cattle all the year round. Yes. And now the second occupation, that is Agriculture. The prairies are one of the most productive agricultural lands in the world. The factors favoring agriculture in this region, do you know? Yes, let us see. So it's very important, what are the factors favoring the agriculture in the prairies? So here you can see the main 3 points, it's very important. Let us see the first one. The dark brown soil is rich in organic matter and very fertile. So the soil is very fertile. And due to low rainfall, the soil nutrients are not washed away. It will remain there itself. And the next is the rolling ground. What is the rolling ground? Rolling ground means a deep area consists of large amount of water. So the rolling ground provides good drainage and the gentle slopes are suitable for farm machinery. Okay, and the third one is light rains. Light rains during spring and summer are ideal for growing crops. And the melting of snow also provides soil moisture. So these are the 3 points which favoring the agriculture in the prairies. Please learn it well. And dear kids, in the prairies, wheat is the most important crop. Wheat is the most important crop in the prairies. And in Canada, wheat is grown in the spring season when it is neither very cold nor very warm. And the crop is harvested in early autumn. And in the prairies of USA, wheat is grown in the winter season. And another one important crop is maize or corn. Corn is another name of maize. And other crops grown are oats, barley, then potatoes, flax, oil seeds and fodder crops. Fodder crops means for animals like alfalfa and lucerne. Agriculture in the prairies is commercial in nature and crops are produced mainly for sale in the markets. Thus, the farms are large in size and most of the work of this farm is done with the help of machines. And do you know the combine harvester? Do you know what is the combine harvester? It's a machine which does the work of reaping, threshing, winnowing and packing all in one combined action. So the combine harvester is one such modern machine which reaps the crop, threshes the grains and packs them in sacks all in one function. Yes, and you can watch the video of a combined harvester now. beautiful it is, right? Yes, and now the prairies produce huge quantities of wheat, most of which is exported to European and Asian countries. And this region is thus often referred to as the granary of the world. So why the prairies is known as the granary of the world? Because the prairies produce huge quantities of wheat, most of which is exported to European and Asian countries. That's why it is known as the granary of the world. And let us see the transport and cities of the prairies. The level and gently sloping land of these prairies has facilitated the construction of excellent road and railway networks. And the Mississippi and its tributaries and the canals are used as inland waterways, mostly for carrying bulky goods. And the major towns of these prairies have air services too. Okay, and in the prairies, most of the towns are either important market centers for wheat and other agro-based products or railway junctions. And do you know, Chicago in the USA is the world's biggest meat packing center and one of the biggest railway junctions as well. Great. And other important towns are Minneapolis, Omaha, then Kansas City and Denver. These are the famous cities. And in the Canadian prairies, Winnipeg is called the gateway to the prairies. Dash is called the gateway to the prairies? Yes, Winnipeg. And Edmonton, Regina, Calgary and Saskatoon are some other major towns in this region. And now we are moving to the next temperate region, that is the wealth. And as we have discussed in the beginning, the location is between the Antarctic Circle and Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. Let us see the location now. The word veld means field in Dutch. The meaning of veld is field. And it is the name given to the temperate grasslands of South Africa. And this yellow color, only this much. These grasslands lie between the Drakensberg Mountains in the southeast and the Kalahari Desert in the northwest. Okay, so the location, it lies between the Drakensberg Mountains in the southeast and the Kalahari Desert in the northwest. And let us see about the land. What is the speciality of the land over here? The veld is located on a plateau descending in a series of steps. The highest part is known as high veld, and its elevation ranges between 1200 meters to 1800 meters from the sea level. And a ridge called the Widwater Strand runs through the center of the high veld. And the middle veld ranges in height from 600 meter to 1200 meter from the sea level, and below it lies the low veld, which ranges from 150 meter to 600 meters. So there are three levels: high, middle and low. High veld, middle veld and the low veld. And the Limpopo, the Sabi, the Orange and its tributary, the Vaal are some of the rivers that drain the veld region. And waterfalls and rapids have formed where the rivers drop down from the plateau edges. And let us see the climate of the veld. Due to the high altitude of the plateau and the surrounding oceans, the veld enjoys a moderate climate. Summers are short and warm, winters are long and cool. Rainfall is low and it takes place mostly in the summer, while the winters remain dry. Droughts occur frequently in the world. Yes, this is what very important in world. And let us see the natural vegetation and wildlife of world. The natural vegetation of the world is comprised of grasses, both tall and short, and some bushes. Scattered trees like acacia and marula are found in the higher elevations and along the banks of streams. And wildlife in the world includes lion, leopard, then cheetah, giraffe, oryx, then springbok, etc. Then reckless hunting, as we know, reckless hunting and poaching have greatly reduced their numbers. And the government has set up a number of national parks and sanctuaries to protect the various species of animals. And what are the human activities? The main occupation of the people of the world are animal rearing, and it's not agriculture, it is mining here. Mining. So the main occupation of the people of the world are animal rearing and mining. Cattle rearing is practiced in the warmer and wetter eastern part, while sheep are reared in the cooler and drier western part. Dairy products like meat and leather are obtained from cattle. Okay, so cattle rearing is practiced in the warmer and wetter eastern parts, while sheep are reared in the cooler and drier western parts. And dairy products, meat and leather are obtained from cattle. And sheep rearing is very important in the high wealth. Sheep rearing is very important in high wealth. And sheep are raised mainly for their wool, for getting the wool. And the merino sheep yields fine quality wool. The merino sheep, okay, yields fine quality wool, and mohair is obtained from the Angora goats, another one name. And South Africa is a major producer and exporter of wool in the world. And crop cultivation is not as important in the world grasslands as in the prairies. In the prairies it's very important, but here in the world crop cultivation is not so as important. And low rainfall, occasional droughts and poor soils are hindrances to the agriculture. That's why crop cultivation is not so important. And some farming is practiced in the humid areas where maize is the major crop. And the second one was mining, right? Yes, the world is rich in minerals like gold, uranium, diamond, coal and iron ore. Therefore, mining is an important activity in the region. Industries like iron and steel, metal products, machinery and railway equipments are common in the world. And what about the transportation and the cities? Yes, there is an excellent network of roads and railways in the world. And the major towns also have air services, both domestic and international. And the rivers in the region, however, are not navigable as they have a number of waterfalls and rapids. If you are going through the river and if it is going down as a waterfall, you imagine. So Johannesburg is the largest city in the region, and it is located in the biggest gold producing region in the world, and is an important industrial and commercial center. Yes, then Pretoria is the administrative capital of South Africa. Remember, Pretoria is the administrative capital of South Africa. And the mining town of Kimberley is known for its diamond industry. So Kimberley is a mining town, it's famous for diamond industry. So this is what all about the wealth. So dear kids, let's have a recap of our chapter. So we have learned mainly two temperate regions. One is prairies and another one is wealth. About the prairies in North America are located in Canada and in the USA. And the prairies have extreme climate with light rain in summer and strong winds. And cattle rearing is an important occupation. Dairy farms are located near big towns, while beef cattle are reared on huge commercial ranches. And wheat is the main crop in the prairies. Then farms are huge in size and agricultural operations are mechanized. And about the wealth is located between Drakensberg Mountains and the Kalahari Desert. And the wealth has three parts. What was that? High wealth, middle wealth and low wealth. Sheep rearing is the most important occupation in the world, and South Africa is a major producer and exporter of wool. And also at the end we learned that the world is rich in minerals like gold and diamond. So study the lesson well. All the best. Take care. Bye bye.